All right, cool. Amazing. Thank you, everybody that's literally on here, on Instagram, on YouTube's, on everything. I really appreciate you guys. We have this every single freaking weekday. So you don't want to miss them. So please subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Today, we're going to be talking about warm outreach. Warm outreach is literally the single distribution channel that has helped me get to six figures in literally less than 8 months, which is amazing. So I would like to say, first of all, start off with what the heck is warm outreach? Because people are like, what is that? So think about like when you're boiling something, right? Like you're boiling like a cup of water, right? You pour it into the cup, and then it's just hot. It's just like it's a hot beverage. What does that basically mean? Or it's ready to go, right? Same principle with everything that comes into sales and just essentially prospecting, right? If somebody that's super ready or super ready to go, they're usually categorized in business as a hot lead or a warm lead, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. For all the people who are like, what the heck is warm outreach? You know what I'm saying? So whenever I say warm outreach, it's usually because I'm usually talking to somebody who is already engaged, meaning engaged in the sense of like they already know my business or they already know what I do and they want to do something with me. Now,
Mm-hmm.
as far as warm outreach can apply to multiple different things, right? It could be a complete stranger turning into a warm lead, which is that they get engaged because they know what your business is, either via inbound, being like content or ads, or it could be anybody from your sphere of influence, which is essentially my favorite way of getting leads, especially
Mm-hmm.
because it works so effectively. So, but the premise of everything that we're going to be talking about now is essentially what most people, at least in the industry, refer to warm outreach is essentially outreaching to your specific sphere of influence, right? So the first and foremost, everybody needs to start with a list. And Zach, you just jump in whenever you feel like, okay?
Mm-hmm. It's gonna be
You
mostly you though. It's gonna be mostly you.
okay, okay, that went in on whatever. If you wanna pop in, you can. But
Mhm.
main thing is, what's up, everybody on Instagram? The main thing is you first got to start with a list. I don't care what list you start with, but specifically a list of people that you hit up every day. I started with my phone, right? Because I was in the music industry for 10 years and I basically had 7,000 contacts. To be exact, I had 7,706, I think it was, and I still have the Google Meets Excel spreadsheet, blah blah blah. The Google sheet, and like I could literally show it to you guys if actually would that be a guy? Yeah, I think. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Give me like 5 seconds, and if I can find it really quickly, then that would be amazing because then everybody can see on YouTube or school.
That'd be
Uh,
fun. If you
man,
want to know exactly how to do this, hop into our school real quick. Instagram people.
warm. Here we go. Warm outreach log. Love this. Yo, I love being correct and I love being great. I love it.
Bruh.
Y'all can see this, right?
Yes.
Yeah, awesome. So essentially I had every single person. Well, actually, this is probably an old one that I needed to fix, but I had 7,000 contacts on here and I think I deleted this because I wasn't doing this business anymore. Point is, I literally had their name, the date contacted, contact info, the message if they sent or not, essentially dividing everything via the platform of how I even got into contact with them in the first place, being text, DM, email, or call, right? And this is the really old one because like there should be a bunch of calls on here. But anyway, if they answered, what did they say, the appointment booked, the appointment show, and if the lead closed or not. So
Mm-hmm.
roughly more so than anything else, this is what I did every single day, dude. Like I
Mm-hmm.
literally hopped on here. Let me see if I can actually find the actual one. Might have deleted it. It says warm outreach log. See, this is from like 2 years ago. Well, actually a year ago, in December. Is this the one? No. Yeah, I think I deleted it. But anyway, I probably was looking for some information, but that's besides the point. That's
Mm-hmm.
essentially what your list should look like, right? So roughly I had 7,000 contacts. I was basically cold calling, texting, DMing, emailing, all the jazz, and doing 100 people every single day. And it first started with not cold calling, with just calling them over, like, in a reasonable time. Let's say like at 10 in the morning, something from like 10 to like 3 is when I would call all these people, right? And from there, I would get responses dependent on how they responded, right? So there's roughly like if they were engaged, if they even messaged me, if they hit me back, if they left me a voicemail, this, that, and the third. So the first thing is you get a list, right? And this could be Instagram followers, this could be TikTok followers, this could be email, this could be your email contacts. This could be your actual contacts on your actual phone. This could be in everything, just like roughly that you can just use at your own disclosure, right? Just the first thing's a list. Next thing, after you make a list, you have to figure out a way of contact, right? It's like you saw, like literally text, email, DM, like even, or any of these types of situations, right? And from there, you're just gonna choose one, and then you're just gonna really go through it every single day. Like, it's like, all right, cool. Now I'm sending 100 DMs. Now I'm sending 100 calls. Now I'm sending 100 emails. Now I'm sending 100 whatever. And then from there, then you have to set up a follow-up system, right? So then how do you follow up with these people? I usually followed up in this case roughly 7 times. It was this was before like I started working with Zach. This is before I started doing the Facebook ads agency with him. This is before everything, right? I literally follow up with these people on a consistent basis. And more often than not in that business for the organic content agency, people will respond after the second or third follow-up. Right. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody's going to answer after the second or third follow-up. I have to make that very, very clear, because a lot of people, depending on your offer and depending on what you do, are going to be answering at different times. Right. So like, they might answer a text. Fantastic. They might answer a call immediately. Fantastic. They might answer an email, or vice versa. They might not answer that call. They might not answer the DM. They might not answer the text. So you have to continuously hitting them up. Right. You just have to set the precedent that this is the first time is probably not the first time that I'm going to hear from them. And that's okay. But the point is that you just have to continuously do it, and eventually you'll get a hold of that person. That's number 2. So you essentially got a list, you got a way of contact, and these are people that you know, right? A list, and then essentially do 100 calls every single day, or 100 outreaches every day, right? And you dedicate that over the course of like roughly 3 or 4 hours. I got to the point where I could pretty much like either call somebody literally at I think 100 calls, like I think it was like 2 hours and 15 minutes, because I already had the next number online, like on my phone. You know what I'm saying? Like I already had the next one while the other one was dialing. You know what I'm saying? So then I was just like copy paste, boom, bam, copy paste, boom, bam, copy paste, boom, bam, and I would call them 2 or 3 times, every single person. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it changes just because it's warm outreach, this, that, and the third. But the likelihood of them picking up increases significantly because of the fact that they actually know who you are. Be like, oh, dude, Pedro, I haven't talked to you in like 6 months. That's awesome. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, awesome. That's great. That's fantastic. They answer the phone. They answer the DM. They answer the email. We love that. Now what happens?
Yeah. Perfect. So, Ali, real quick. So basically, for those of you guys who don't basically get it, quick rundown, super simple. Warm outreach is way better than cold in a certain sense, because you're talking to people who already know you. Yeah. They already like you. They trust you. Your friends, family, whatever. So they're probably going to buy from you because your mom's not going to say no to you. She's your mom, right? Obviously. So the point is like, once you have people who know, like, and trust you, and you reach out to them, you call them, whatever, there are 4 different things that could happen when you reach out to them.
True.
The first thing that could happen is before we get into that, let's talk about exactly how to actually reach out to them in the first place, right? What to say, right? Yeah. So when you talk to someone and they say, hey, let's say it's your friend, whatever, you're doing very well, you ask them, hey, do you happen to know anybody who's looking for XYZ? True. You never directly ask.
That's what I was going to talk about next.
Exactly. You never directly ask them, because if you actually directly ask them, then it gets cut off. But there are different actual variables that could happen if you ask them if they know somebody. They could either say, yes, I know somebody. They could either say, no, but I'm the person that needs your help. They could either be like, no, I don't know anybody at all, or they'll ghost you, right? So those are the 4 things they can get. And of course, with the ghosting, like Pedro said, you must have to consistently contact them over and over again, because ghosting, until they say F off, keep calling them. That's basically the 4 things that could happen when you reach out to somebody with a warm outreach, basically.
So I'll also add to that, mainly because just because it's warm outreach doesn't necessarily mean that people will give you the opportunity to talk to them about certain things. Usually when it's a person that's basically that what's up, Matthew? How you doing? I didn't even see your thing. I was looking at the camera. Anyway, doesn't necessarily mean that they'll give you the opportunity, right? Like they won't give it, and this is just because they know you, right? And then more often than not, people are going to think like, okay, well, why you haven't spoken to me in 3 months, this, that, and the third. So this is the issue, right? It's like, you don't even start with the question. Like just even before what Zach said, I would do an audit. I would do an audit on their life, roughly, because it's like you're going to be calling them out of the blue. You're going to call your friend from 2 years ago that you never talked to up until now, and all of a sudden they're going to know that you're probably going to try to sell them, right? So then more so than anything else is what I would do, especially if you have this person's phone number or their email or whatever it is, or even DM on Instagram or TikTok or whatever it is, I would do an audit, right? I would do an audit in the sense of that you literally go on these people's Instagram, their TikTok, and most people have posted something on their TikTok, their Facebook, their Instagram, greens, beans, potatoes, tomatoes. They literally have posted at some point, something about their life. So then guess what you do? You basically look at their stuff and you just like, it literally takes, I don't know, 15 seconds, maybe 10.
Mm-hmm.
Literally look at their stuff, look at their profiles. It's like, oh my gosh, the first thing that comes up has to be a life event, right? Like we're talking an event that like, oh, they got married, they had a baby, they had a situation in which that like, you know, something amazing happened, but it has to be specifically positive. Don't be calling, don't be DMing, don't be emailing these people. It's just like, yo, I heard your father just, you know, like self-deleted. Just wanted to ask you if you happen to know anybody. How terrible is that? You know what I mean?
You get a response though.
Well, that's crazy. That's crazy. So it has
crazy.
to be a positive thing. It has to be a positive result. So let's say, for
Mhm.
example, Carly. You know, I don't know a lot of Carlys. I only know one Carly. But let's say Carly. I haven't spoken to Carly in a number of years, and I'm like, brr, brr, brr. Hey, Carly, how you doing? This, that, and the third is like, Pedro. Oh my gosh, I haven't heard from you in a crap ton of time. Fantastic. No, I just saw that you got married to Ryan. That's awesome. Like, how's that going? And it's like, oh, you don't even know the half of it, the marriage, and then all this other stuff, the paperwork, the wedding, blah blah. Oh, that's really interesting. How's Ryan doing with his business?
Mm-hmm.
Super important. This is like, now I'm talking about in some way, shape, or form that I could literally like, not necessarily weasel, but essentially like literally make the conversation towards what? To talking about my business. So what does that mean? In the sense like, oh my gosh, how's Ryan's business? This, that, and the third. This is assuming that you're already doing a marketing agency or a coaching business overall. It's like, how's the business going? Blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, oh yeah, you know, the business is going great, you know, but to be honest, you know, like Ryan's business hasn't really picked up since last we spoke. Like it was like literally 2 years ago. But you know, we've been okay. Everything else has been fine nonetheless. And I'm like, oh yeah? How come? What's happening with his business? And this, that, and the third. It's just like, oh, you know, like it's just like he hasn't had an increase in amount of clients, or in the sense of like we're trying to literally buy a new house, so that's what we're trying to find more clientele for Ryan specifically. Oh, word! Like, how are you expecting to get clients? So do you see what I'm doing there? Is essentially I'm shifting
Mm-hmm.
the conversation, because either Carly A, she knows exactly what I do for work, or B, she doesn't know what I'm doing, but literally I'm just like shifting the conversation, this, that, and the third. Then from there, this is essentially like we're shifting the conversation towards anything that could be related to my business, right? And then from there, then at some point, usually that back and forth is roughly like 3, 4, 5 responses each. And then from there, you essentially talk to the person, and then they just basically say like, yeah, but you know, everything's this, that, and the third. And it's like, oh, that must be hard. That's interesting. So like, I mean, would you say that he needs some help in regard to something like this? And be like, oh, word, yeah, no, 1000%. It's just that we just don't know anybody. And it's like, oh, fantastic. Then is when you literally pop into the question. It's just like, well, that's interesting. I mean, like, do you happen to know anybody by chance that like would need help in these XYZ products or services, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, depending on your marketing agency, depending on your coaching business. So if it is a coaching offer, it'd be like, oh, you know, Ryan has been trying to lose weight, this, that, and the third, blah, blah, blah. Like, and, you know, it's been a really hard time, this, that, and whatever. And it's just like, oh, word, that's interesting. Like, funny enough, like I've been actually, you know, coaching like 5 different clients, like up the wazoo. But anyway, tell me about Ryan. So he's trying to lose weight and this, that, and the third. Fantastic. And it's like, oh yeah, no, absolutely. Fantastic. And then from there, it's like, well, would Ryan be opposed to be to a free session or anything like that? Because sometimes you could be direct or indirect with warm outreach, but it's dependent on how good your conversation goes, and on top of that, how close you are to the person, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
Carly is somebody that I've known for like 2 years or 3 years at this and the third. I haven't spoken to her in 2 years, but I opened with something specifically positive about the relationship that I have with her, specifically that she's getting married. She has a dude that has a business or something that's along the lines with my coaching business overall. So I hope that makes sense. It's in sense of like you have to like affirm what they're basically going on through life, being a positive thing. And then after you affirm, then you slowly but surely, via like back and forth of 3 to 5 times, talk about something that essentially would be, I guess, like changing the direction to what exactly your business does. I hope that made sense. I hope that made sense. I'm trying to see. Maybe it didn't make sense. Matthew?
Yeah, so basically, like, if it makes total sense, basically you wanna. It's like a big game, right? It's a balance. You don't want to be like, oh, all
It's a
business. You want
dance.
to be like,
It's a
exactly.
dance.
It's a
It's a
dance,
dance.
right? You ask them about their life, awesome, great. Then you plug your business a bit. Be like, hey, so this issue you're having, like, I can actually help you with this, but tell me more about your dog, right? Okay, so you don't want to make it seem too salesy.
Right. You don't want to be on the we actually have this even further like it's just second nature to me at this point. That's why maybe I'm like, maybe does this make sense? But anyway, it's like literally, because I do warm outreach all the time. And then there's the next level of that. But before I get into that, it's like we have a video in our school group is just all warm outreach, and essentially how I go about doing warm outreach, either via text, email, call, it doesn't matter. And essentially just calling people and being like, oh yeah, the 7th, 3rd. But the main point is that you got to have a list, right? You have to have and some way to point of contact, essentially DM, email, text, a phone number. And then from there, it's like once you actually get them on the phone, you have to actually do an audit before you even talk to them in the first place. Because otherwise they're gonna feel like you're coming out of the blue with something that you're trying to sell them. And that's not once the minute people feel like they're getting sold, like they don't want to do anything with you. And then the last thing is essentially you have to have a conversation with them roughly. It's usually what I've seen, it's usually anywhere from like 3 to 5 back and forths, kind of like this dance, where as far as like you're talking about stuff in their life from the audit that you did, and then slowly but surely shifting the conversation towards your business and what you can do for their life. And more so than anything else, that's when you pop the question. It's like, do you happen to know anybody? And usually from there, they'll either give you one of the 4 responses, as Zach said earlier. They say, yes, that's me. Yes, but not me, but I have a referral for you. Fuck off, or ghost. And that's pretty much it. Now, I think this is another video I have to make on the school group, to be quite honest with you. The next is essentially like, now you're doing this in person, like regardless of your life, of where you are, of text, call, email, or even on these social media platforms. I would say another really great point of contention is like, let's say, for example, you get on this call and it doesn't go anywhere, because sometimes it does. Like sometimes it does not. And you want to have a conversation with this person and you feel like giving them only a smidge amount of time would essentially not essentially work, right? So let's say, for example, you're doing a coaching business. I'm going to use fitness for the rest of my life because it's very easy. It's like, let's say, for example, that that your friend is like, reasonably like overweight, like just reasonably overweight. And you know for a fact that you could help him. And your offer is actually super low ticket or a very reasonably priced, this, that, and the third. And you want to genuinely help this person. And this is like, then this is kind of like the second portion of it, where it's like, how much of an investment are you willing to give into that person? Because the reason why I say this is because if you go this next level in order to get this person as a client, whether it be warm outreach or not, more often than not, 90% of the time they close. It happens every single time. So this is what you're going to do. So let's say, for example, you're having this is like, yeah, like this, that, and the weight and blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm trying to lose weight. I'm trying to get, switch my life and just be a better person, be a better man, blah, blah. Usually like the pain points of a man trying to lose weight, right? It's fantastic. It's like, dude, I would love to see you. I would love to see you. Do you have time like on Saturday at like 3 p.m.? And this has to be a person that's locally, right? And since they're in your contacts, or since they're in your email list, or since they're already in your DMs, they're more often than not, they're probably going to be people that that are within your local area. So then you're going to be like, bro, I would love to see you. I would love to see you at Saturday. Do you have time at 3 p.m.? We can get lunch and just catch up. Fantastic. Then guess what you're going to do? You're essentially you're not going there to sell them. You can. It just look really shitty on your behalf. You're not going to.
So give me your money.
money. So what's going to happen? It's only dependent. Like, let's say this is a best friend of yours, or a really long childhood friend. Like this is essentially a childhood friend that you had for a really long time, and you genuinely want to help them. But obviously, you have to get paid for your service, right? So then, more so than anything else, it's like you go have lunch, you talk to them, you basically talk to them about life, and it's like, hey, listen, Johnny, like I just think it's really amazing that you're trying to make these changes in your life. And what if I could help you? I really have this business right now, And obviously I'm looking for people that I want to genuinely work with. And I really want to either bless you or whatever your affiliation with being kind is. I really want to help you in some way, shape, or form or capacity. And they'd be like, word? And it's like, no, 1000%. And I'm not trying to like make you like sign on with me or anything like that, but more so than anything else, I just want you to be in a position where you actually can like respect yourself in the sense of like whether get more clients or change your life, this, that, and the third. And people will see your sincerity because it's coming from a place of love. It's like somebody that you genuinely care about, right? This is why I would never do this with a complete stranger that you only met once. I would never do this with a complete stranger or somebody that you just happen to follow off of the street. You know what I'm saying? It has to be with a person that you know for a fact that you can change their life, and if they just need an extra nudge. And that's more so, we talk about being a people pleaser, but not necessarily in the point of contention where people are walking all over you. It's more in the sense of just actually caring, right? Because all the money is going to go anywhere. Like anybody can have all the money in the world, but at the end of the day, it's just like we're here to give service to people, right? So if you can literally go out of your own way, even if it's just for an hour, just to have lunch with somebody, bro, it could be freaking Chipotle, it could be McDonald's. I don't care.
Well, the kind of way, probably not McDonald's.
Right. Not probably not McDonald's, but you know the point. Like you meet up with somebody, maybe for a smoothie, you know what I'm saying, and then you essentially talk to them about their pain points. And be like, word, this is like, why do you feel like you need to lose weight? Why do you feel like you need to be in a position to basically lose weight? How much weight are you trying to lose? Same thing with business. It's like, fantastic. You're a mechanic. Love that. So what's going on with the shop? Like, are you getting clients? Like, what's going on? Like, how can I help you? You know, this, that, and third. It's just like, well, let me do this for you, brother. And then essentially you get to the point where you're shifting the conversation towards your business. And this happens to me all the time. Every single time when I'm outside, like I go to the gym, I go to the barber, I go to this, that, and the third, people are always wondering and asking for help for specifically what they're trying to do. So if you could literally be your own warm outreach vehicle out in real life, bro, you're never going to be worried about getting clients ever again. Like, especially when you have a service-based business. Coaching is a completely different story because you're doing B2C. However, it has to be with people that you genuinely know. But specifically with a marketing agency or any service that you give, you will never be without clients because of the fact that you're trying to help somebody. And then and if they can't pay for your service, you can always negotiate and be like, oh, you know, give me a testimonial and we'll work for 3 months and like drop the price down, or any way, shape, or form that you feel like would be okay for them and it would make sense for them overall. Because the point is that you're trying to help, right? And not only does this give you more business, and I stutter because I feel very strongly about this. And not only will this give you more business, but you'll feel good doing it. Because there's so many times that we're literally on sales calls, literally doing outreach on a consistent basis and all this other stuff. And then people say no, and they say, you know, screw you, this, that, and the third. And it's like, you're basically showing up on sales calls every single day, just like us. And then on top of that, we're being put in a position where it's just like, dang, am I actually really helping people? And it's just like, awesome. Like, I actually get to help an individual change their life. I'm getting paid. And on top of that, like, I'm doing what I love, which is essentially either a marketing agency or a coaching business. And I think that's beautiful. So we could pick that apart. I feel like I was talking a lot. We could pick that apart specifically, Zach, if you want to go into more detail. But do you feel like do you want to add anything? Do you want to add anything?
Well, I mean, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head when it comes down to warm outreach. At the end of the day, just to give you guys a full rundown, is contacting people you know, right? The benefit of it is, of course, that people know you. So they like you, they trust you, they're willing to buy your stuff. That's really what it comes down to. Now, like you said, the best way to do it is to just get on your phone. I would put my phone, get on your phone. If you're a human who has a normal life, I guarantee you have at least 1,000 contacts on your phone.
Yeah.
I guarantee 1,000 contacts. That's 1,000 leads. Call them, text them, whatever. Do a message blast. I don't care, whatever. Message them and ask them if they know anybody that would need your services. They'll either answer with 4 ways. Yes, I know somebody, which is me. Yes, I know somebody else. No, or ghost you. Right? Those are 4. Once you go to that, the same sales process as you would for a cold lead. You talk to them, figure it out, and basically close it. That's basically what you want to do. Right? Now, the one thing that's great about warm outreach is it's free. It's pretty much free, and it's really fast. So free, and you can get as fast clients as possible, but it's not easily scalable. This isn't really a scalable thing, right?
It's great for like your first clients, and if you want to actually like, because for me it took me like roughly 8 clients to get to 10K months. So roughly it was like 8 people who were paying me either 500, 1,500, pretty much every single month when I was starting my agency.
Exactly. So great way to start if you have $0 at all. But definitely what you're going to want to do is once you get to a point where you've exhausted your whole list, that's when you're going to want to switch to cold. And of course, we have another tape talking about cold, but basically warm outreach.
Even before that, I would say, let's say, for example, that you call them, right? And they don't answer. Another way, after you called them roughly like 3, like Alex Ramosi says 3 times, but I say 5 times. Because like literally like I mean we literally talk about it all the time. It's just like roughly follow up roughly 7 times up until somebody will actually respond. For us, depending on the outreach system, is roughly like 2-3 times for warm outreach. But more so than anything else, if somebody doesn't even respond after like 4 or 5 times, I would switch to email. I would switch to DM. It's still warm outreach, but a different point of outreach in that sense, in the sense of like you still have their phone number, you still have their email, or you still have them on DMs. This is like, and once you've exhausted one, you go to the next one. So like you go, like even if you started in DMs, for example, like a warm DM, you hit up your dude after the audit and they don't answer, fantastic. Then after the 5th or 6th or 7th time, Alex Ramosi says 3, but I say like you do more than that. And then you hit them up you call them on their cell phone. Usually people, when they do warm outreach, they start with text, like roughly like texting somebody, which is okay. But more often than not, at least as you saw, like in the list that I had in the outreach log, I started with text, but then I didn't see a lot of people responding. So then I was like, okay, so now after like 4 or 5 texts that they didn't respond, they're gonna probably block my number. So then guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna call them, and see what's up. It's just kind of like with cold calling, you just have to get rid of the fear of them like picking up and then basically talking to them for like a good 5 minutes and then seeing if they need something or not. So yeah. But other than that, I think that's pretty much everything about warm outreach. I mean, there's other intricacies in between all of this, because you also have to know how to speak. But I feel like we could talk about that in another video, specifically about like once you go ahead.
Just being personable, right? Understanding how.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to explain. I explained it in the warm outreach video on our school group. Join if you want. First link in the description if you're watching this on YouTube. But specifically, like there's a framework that we use. And it's kind of hard to explain in just 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So, because like you have to be personable. You have to be personable in order to make this work. It's just like, want to buy my stuff? Like it's just like, it's not gonna work.
Please,
please, you're my friend. Now you're basically leveraging the friendship in order to take money from them. That's so messed up. My first clients.
Hey, my boy Chris is on the call.
Yes, sir. What's up, Chris? How you doing? It's usually friends that will literally give you money for everything. But it's just like, in every situation, it's like people can't take the identity away from you, from what they used to know you. So they fail to actually invest in your business. So that's why we have this whole framework set in place, which we'll probably have another video in order to set that up. So I think we're done here. But thank you, everybody who's watched it. Primetime Chris. What's up, brothers? I'll see y'all in 30 minutes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We also have for everybody that's watching this specifically on Friday, we have a coaching call every single Friday at 6 p.m. Before this, we have the IG school call. But anyway, that's besides the point. I appreciate you, everybody, with warm outreach. If you have any questions, put it in the comment section. Otherwise, like and subscribe, because we put videos out like this every single day, and you don't want to miss them. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I will see you guys in the next one.
In the next episode.
In the next episode. The next season, the next episode. Dragon Ball Z.